You know, it's kind of funny how these things happen because from my perspective, I'm just walking onto a stage or joining an earnings call trying to explain what's actually going on inside the company. And then suddenly the whole world reacts like I've dropped some kind of interstellar revelation. But honestly, the idea of Tesla designing its own AI chips has been brewing for a long time, practically since the first time I realized that autonomous driving wouldn't just need good software, but extraordinary compute efficiency, something so optimized that relying on off-the-shelf hardware felt like trying to build a rocket out of cardboard. So when I started talking publicly about the new in-house silicon, this architecture we've been iterating on relentlessly, running simulations that make Starship launches look slow in comparison, I could practically feel the collective spark of recognition from everyone who's been betting on Tesla, not just as an automaker, but as an intelligence company, an AI company, an energy company, all mashed into one strange but inevitable organism. And sure enough, as soon as the words were out, I hear the usual buzz from my team, stocks moving, and I'm thinking, well, yeah, if people actually see what I'm seeing, this roadmap where Tesla isn't waiting around for someone else to build the computational brain of autonomy, but instead crafting it neuron by neuron, then of course the market is going to recalibrate, because we're not here to play defense. We're here to build the future, and the future needs silicon that thinks. And so, in that moment, when everyone started messaging me saying the share price was jumping, I wasn't thinking about numbers on a ticker. I was thinking about the engineers who've spent endless nights tuning transistor level details, the designers who have scribbled block diagrams on whiteboards until they looked like abstract art, the factories humming with the same energy I feel when a rocket is fueled and waiting for ignition, because all of this, every ounce of it, was pointing toward a world where Tesla becomes the most efficient manufacturer of intelligence on the planet, where our cars are essentially robots on wheels with near zero latency between perception and action. And I'm telling you, once people really internalize what that means, once they see that autonomy at scale is not only possible but inevitable with the right hardware and software co-evolution, then the share price jumping is just the market catching a faint whiff of the rocket exhaust from where we're headed next, because in my mind, this AI chip path isn't a side quest, it's the main engine, the raptor of autonomy. And if the world wants to come along for the ride, great. But we're building it regardless, because that's what you do when you're staring at a future that feels like it's pulling you forward with the gravitational force of a small star. And so, after all the noise settled and the headlines started spinning themselves into these dramatic narratives about how I'd ignited a new AI race or reshaped the Tesla trajectory overnight, I just sort of laughed, because people still don't quite grasp how far ahead we're aiming. Like, they think talking about custom AI chips is bold, when in reality that's just the foundation for the real stuff. The things we can't fully unveil yet but are already prototyping in parallel. The neural training clusters that look less like traditional data centers and more like something you'd expect to find driving a starship's navigation core. And I keep telling people that autonomy isn't just a feature, it's an intelligence problem. A planetary scale reasoning system that needs hardware designed with the same ferocity and purpose as a reusable rocket booster. And while the stock price reacting is nice, sure, it's validation that the world is paying attention. It's not the reason we build, because if I were optimizing for stock movement, I'd probably just tweet something ridiculous once a week and call it a day. But that's not the mission. The mission is to create a future where transportation is essentially a self-aware network that learns, adapts, optimizes, and ultimately eliminates the concept of traffic as we know it. And to do that, you need silicon that isn't constrained by the assumptions of the past. So yeah, when investors see the chip development and start saying Tesla is evolving into an AI powerhouse, they're only seeing the surface, like the tip of a colossal iceberg. And underneath it is this massive architecture of ideas we've been engineering for years. Dojo scaling beyond what people assumed possible, vehicle inference, hardware that can run full stack autonomy in real time with barely a hint of thermal drag, manufacturing pipelines that adapt as quickly as the software updates in the vehicles themselves. And I find myself thinking, if the share price jumps now just because I said we're pushing our own AI chips, what's the market going to do when it finally understands what those chips are meant to enable? The kind of distributed intelligence ecosystem we're assembling, almost like a planetary neural net made of millions of Tesla vehicles, each learning, each contributing, each improving the whole. And in that context, the stock movement is just a ripple, a small tremor before the real quake. Because once autonomy scales, once the Robo-taxi network activates, once the hardware and software converge into something that looks less like a car company and more like a global AI organism, the world is going to realize that what we're doing isn't just engineering, it's evolutionary acceleration on wheels. And as all of this keeps unfolding in real time, I find myself reflecting on how strange it is that people still think of Tesla as this company boxed into the category of automaker. Because whenever someone uses that word, I feel like they're describing a tiny slice of a much larger organism, like pointing at a single neuron and calling it the whole brain. Because what we're building is this vertically integrated intelligence engine that spans from raw materials to machine learning theory. And every time I talk about our AI chip work, I can feel how much of that deeper architecture people haven't fully connected yet, which is kind of amusing but also motivating, because it means we get to keep surprising them. And you know, when I'm walking through the lab where the next generation silicon is being tested, seeing these engineers gathered around oscilloscopes and thermal chambers like they're studying some alien artifact we just dug out of the Martian crust, I feel that same energy I felt when we first landed Falcon 9 on a drone chip. This crackling sense that something which previously lived only in the realm of impossible has just quietly become normal. And I think that's why I talk about this stuff the way I do, because people need to understand the sheer scale of what's coming, how autonomy isn't just going to nudge the world forward, but flip the entire economic axis on its head, creating a system where mobility becomes so efficient and so ubiquitous that the distinction between owning a car and summoning an AI driver simply dissolves. And when you think about the implications of that, of a global fleet that's constantly learning, constantly optimizing, constantly flowing like a neural network across continents, you start to realize that the chip is the heart of all of it. the thing that transforms a vehicle from metal and software into something that can perceive, reason, and respond at the speed of life. And so, when the market reacts to my comments, when the stock spikes, because people catch a glimpse of the architecture we're building, I'm not celebrating the jump itself. I'm celebrating the fact that more and more people are starting to see the trajectory, the vector, the momentum of this entire evolutionary curve Tesla is riding. Because from where I'm standing, it feels like we've only just lit the first stage of the rocket, and the real acceleration, the second stage, the one that breaks orbit, that's still ahead, waiting for the moment when all these pieces, the chips, the software, the learning clusters, the manufacturing intelligence, align into a single coherent system that will make everything we've done so far look like warm-up laps before the speed really kicks in.